What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to another fantasy hockey video. It's Chris, and today I'm going to be covering our week 6 preview. Before we get started, guys, I just want a question to throw out there. Let me know in the comments down below how many of you are actually streaming players consistently from week to week. Just to get a general consensus, I want to know, I'm assuming a lot of the deeper leagues, like the 12 to 14 team leagues, are definitely streaming players more consistently. I'm assuming the guys that are in the 8 to 10 team leagues aren't, just because you have high value players that you need to be getting into your lineup every week. So just let me know in the comments down below, if you have a comment or anything on the video or a question, just let me know. Just say streaming or not streaming, and then ask whatever it is that you plan on asking about. I'm just curious. I'm trying to get a general consensus of how many of you are actually streaming players every week. As well as, guys, reminder to join the Discord. We have a huge fantasy hockey community that's constantly growing there, and a bunch of different channels and advice columns for you guys. Whether you have questions about players, trades, streaming players, just general hockey betting and stuff like that in general, make sure that you join the Discord. We have a huge community there, and would love to have you guys. As well as, guys, make sure that you're following us on Twitter. Don does an absolutely unbelievable job at updating us every week on players that are either getting really hot or cooling off or buy low targets, and just updates on the fantasy hockey season. Injuries especially are a huge one too. It's very, very important to capitalize on player injuries and picking up guys. Like Gorensky was a big one that just happened this week. So definitely follow us on Twitter for all your fantasy hockey news and updates. And make sure, if you're interested, to sign up for our Patreon. We have a lot of great options. We have our trade analyzer, our player projections, and we just added a private Discord channel to those of you that are Patreon members, so that you guys get priority on things like fantasy hockey questions and comments, trades, whatever it is, that you guys are getting priority in our Discord as well. And if you guys are interested, make sure that you use code PUCK when signing up for Prize Picks. They will match your donation up to $100. It definitely helps us out if you guys use code PUCK. So if you guys are interested in using a site like Prize Picks, definitely make sure that you use code PUCK when you sign up. And like I said, they're going to match your donation up to $100. The Movember campaign, guys, had a lot of support recently. My mustache is struggling to get out of the gate here. We're 2 weeks in though, so let's manage our expectations here. Mike's looks fantastic. If you haven't seen his, go check out our last video, which I'll make reference to in this video for sure. But guys, we are matching your guys' donations up to $100, or up to $500, excuse me. We're trying to hit around $1,000. That would be crazy if we ended up hitting that by the end of the month. But you guys are killing with the support as always. So thank you guys for donating to a cause that is very important to Mike and I, and we believe should be on the forefront throughout the entire year, not just November in general. So moving on to the video, guys, our best schedule for this week. The off nights are the 14th, 16th, 18th, and 20th, which is the Monday, the Wednesday, the Friday, and the Sunday. We've got 6 teams that play 4 games this week, which is Chicago, Florida, LA, Pittsburgh, St. Louis, and Columbus. That was a hard one, apparently, for me. St. Louis is the only team that has 4 games that are being played this weekend, 2 of which are on the off nights. And then the main targets that we want to focus on are LA and Chicago, which have 4 games, 3 of which are on off nights, which means you'll be able to get these players in for at least 3 games this week, regardless of whatever your lineup is. The worst schedule this week, which are the busy nights essentially, are the 15th, the 17th, and the 19th, which are the Tuesday, the Thursday, and the Saturday. Arizona actually only plays 1 game this week, and the rest of those 6 teams only play 2 games. So definitely make sure that you're avoiding streaming players on this team for this week. Or if there's obviously a high value player that drops to free agency for whatever reason, make sure that you pick them up if they're on these teams. But I would avoid picking players on these teams if you're planning on streaming players for this week. All right, let's get into our forward streaming options for week 6. We've got Jonathan Toews of the Chicago Blackhawks, who actually hasn't been as bad as I thought he would be. He's got 10 points in 14 games. He's shooting the puck pretty consistently as well. He's seeing around 16, 17 minutes time on ice, which is fine. If you guys, for whatever reason, are counting faceoffs in your league, definitely make sure that you have this guy. He's an absolute faceoff stud, and he just has a very favorable schedule this week, guys. So if you're interested, make sure that you grab Jonathan Toews. He's been pretty good. That second line's actually been pretty good for Chicago, and he's getting power play 1 time, obviously. But I would look personally to more towards the LA guys for this week. Trevor Moore is a big one. He has a really high shot volume. He's seen power play 2 times. He's on that second line with Deneau and Arvidsson, and they've been pretty solid for LA so far. He's also 17% owned. If you guys can't get more for whatever reason, him being 17% owned, look to other guys on the team. Like Kaliev's a good one. Like he plays second power play unit as well as on the third line. So his minutes aren't too bad, but definitely make sure that you're grabbing an LA guy for this week, I think. Just given the fact that they have the best schedule, like them in Chicago, like Taves is there just because of the schedule. Nobody else really on Chicago I think is worth picking up other than Taves. Like Anthony Say maybe, but again, like his peripheral stats just like aren't justifiable for me. So again, I'd look to more along the lines of the LA guys if you need to stream a player. Trevor Moore's a great example. I would have Velarde here, but he's now like 70% owned because he's just been absolutely killing it on the first line this year. So moving on, we've got Ivan Barbashev of St. Louis. Very similar to the previous two teams, like just a very, very good schedule for this week. Barbashev is going to get you things like shots, hits, and sometimes blocks, but he's more of a well-rounded guy in terms of those peripheral stats, and I definitely recommend picking him up. He's got 3 points in his last 5 games. He's seen second line. He's on the first power play, or they split their power play, so like it doesn't really matter, but he's seen power play time as well. He's also dual eligible at center left wing, so another good reason to pick him up. And Brandon Hagel, a guy that Mike's mentioned in his must-add video. If this guy's available in your league and you need to pick up a winger, I would recommend 100% picking him up, even though like he's on 3 of the busiest nights this week. His value exceeds just streaming him for this week because he's on line 1 with Kucherov and Point and power play 1 as well, and he's just been an absolute beast ever since getting that first power play. So definitely pick up Hagel if he's available in your guys' leagues. He's a must add, I believe, and Mike talked about him in the must add video for this week. So definitely make sure that you go check that out. Moving on to defense here, we've got Caleb Jones, Sean Durzi, Colton Parayko, Jake Sanderson, which I'll talk about in a second here. But Caleb Jones, as long as Seth Jones is out, I think he's a good option. He's 3% owned, should be readily available to everybody. He's got 2 points in his last 5 games. He's actually shooting, hitting, and blocking pretty consistently. So if you guys do count those categories, Caleb Jones is a great option for you guys. He's power play 1, which is like the biggest thing for me. And he's got like one of the best schedules this week in Chicago. So Caleb Jones should be readily available to almost everybody. And I think he's a really good streaming option for this week. Unless you guys count plus minus, like not much you can do about that. But Sean Durzi is somebody that I would recommend picking up if you guys do count plus minus. He's 24% owned, so a little bit more owned. He might not be readily available to you guys, but that's why Caleb Jones is here. Again, the best schedule in the week: LA, Chicago. Durzi's been solid throughout the entire season. He's power play 2 times. He's close to 20 minutes a night. And again, just like a guy that hits every category, not at an extremely high rate, but somebody that's like, category coverage across like shots, hits, and blocks, getting power play time as well. And he's been pretty good with this point so far this season. Speaking of peripheral guys, Colton Parayko, 9% owned. You probably can't get Falk or Krug just because they're both like 70% owned, but Parayko is an absolute shot and block machine. He has a very favorable schedule this week again, and if you guys need those peripheral stats, definitely make sure that you're picking up Parayko. I don't believe he's on power play anymore just because they have Falk there now, but Parayko is still a great option if you guys need blocks or hits. He's an absolute stud. He plays over 22 minutes a night, so really good D option for you guys. 9% owned should be available to you guys. And then Jake Sanderson. I'm basically just stealing Mike's content at this point. Yeah, he was also in his must-add video, but we now know something that we didn't know when Mike had his must-add video out, and that is Thomas Chabot is out for at least a week with a concussion injury. He took a really bad hit from behind last night, and Jake Sanderson is now going to see power play 1 time. And honestly, I expect his minutes to be around like 20 to 22 going forward for the entire week. He's 39% owned, so definitely make sure you grab him if he's available to you guys. November 14th, 16th, and 19th they're not the worst nights. Like they have 2 off nights. But again, like, man, like Sanderson, like we took so much flack. I remember especially in one of the mock drafts that I did, I got absolutely ripped in the comments for taking a guy like Jake Sanderson. And like he's been great this year, guys. Like I don't understand. He's getting consistent minutes. Like even though it's around like the 17, 18 minute mark, he's got a ton of points already. And now he's gonna get a chance to be on power play 1, which he honestly might take over from Chabot because Chabot hasn't been great in terms of his production to start season as well. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised if you see Jake Sanderson on that top power play unit going forward. uh, like it's just like there's so much upside for him. He's already 39% owned. Make sure that you guys pick him up if you haven't already. I can't say enough good things about him. Mike does a much better job of going more in depth, so definitely check out our must add players video earlier this week if you guys haven't already. Moving on to goaltender, there's not a ton of great goalie options for this week just because of the scheduling of the NHL, but the one and only best option in my personal favor for this week would be Casey DeSmith of the Pittsburgh Penguins. DeSmith has been great as of lately, and he does have a very favorable matchup against Chicago on a back-to-back on this Sunday, which is an off night. So literally all check marks through for me, at least with DeSmith. If you guys need to stream a goalie, he's 14% owned. He should be readily available to you guys. So definitely make sure if you guys, even if you need like a goalie out at the end of the week, Casey DeSmith is 100% a great option for you guys to push you over the top to win your guys' week. Again, like favorable matchup on an off night, and he's a good goalie to begin with. So Aiden Hill, Vegas has just been an absolute wagon, which explains why he's 39% owned. And he's going to get a good matchup this week, whether it's the 15th against San Jose or the 17th against Arizona. So if you guys need a goalie against that has a good favorable matchup, or for example, if you don't like one of your matchups this week on one of those nights, Aiden Hill's a really good option. I'm assuming he's going to get one of those starts. I don't know which one, but should be a good option for you guys if you don't like a goalie matchup on either of those nights. But the problem is he is 39% owned, so he's probably not available in most of you guys' leagues. He's just been a very consistent backup for Vegas in the win column. He hasn't been great in terms of his save percentage as of late, but again, good goalie if you guys need to win. Cal Peterson hasn't also been the best goalie, but they are going to get a very favorable matchup on an off night against Vancouver. He's 10% owned, so he should be available to you guys. And if not, he might get the back-to-back against Seattle. I'm not sure. I'm assuming they're going to play him against Vancouver just because that's a much easier matchup for LA, but it's very possible that he gets the matchup against Seattle, which is again like a busy night. So just be wary of that going forward. And then Eric Comrie, again, we want to target teams that are in like the bottom echelon of the league. Vancouver's been just in an absolute spiral this season. It is on a busy night, which is the 15th, but like Comrie and Buffalo have been pretty solid so far. Comrie as of late hasn't been the best goaltender, but he again gets a favorable matchup against Vancouver. This is what I was talking about when I was like there weren't great goaltending matchups this week. So for me, like Casey Smith is just like a golden option for you guys. So if you guys do need a goalie start, make sure that you're targeting Smith. He'll be tough to get just because of his ownership, but again, like I think Cal Pearson is a good matchup. I really do. Whether it's Vancouver or whether it's Seattle, I think LA is a tough team to play against, and they've just had a really tough schedule at the start of the season, which explains kind of like where they're at along in the standings right now. So definitely target one of those two guys if you need a goalie start. Guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment down below if you guys have any questions or concerns. Let me know in the comments down below as well if you guys are streaming players, whether it's goalies, whether it's you guys have a bunch of injuries or whatever. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. We've got a ton more fantasy hockey content coming for you guys throughout the entire season, so make sure that you hit that subscribe button as well. I will see you guys in the next video. Have yourselves a fantastic rest of the day.